Hey y'all, it's Michael. So I have this really ambitious idea. One day or 2 days ago, the 2019 Women's Prize long list was just announced. Long story short, basically I want to tackle reading the whole long list. The reason why I want to do this is because majority of the books on that list, my library already has, which is fantastic because that means I can just get them from the library and read them. I already read 2 books on that list and I'll talk about them in a few minutes because it's getting cold now. So as you can tell, the sun is setting and it's cold. So the first book that I got from the library that I was like, oh, let me tackle that. And the first book is Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. So I've heard really mixed things on this one, but we shall see. So that is the plan. What I'll do is, since I don't want this video to be too long and there's a lot of books on that list, I'm gonna try to keep it short and concise. So I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking of the books as I'm reading them, and at the end of each book I'll let you guys know my overall thoughts, and then we'll see. This is gonna be a free flow type of video because it's gonna take me in 2 months. That's when they're announcing the shortlist, so we'll see how it goes. So this is my book journal that I am going to be using to keep track of the 2019 Women's Prize list. So let me flip it. 2 stories on here that I read is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and then An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I recently just talked about this on my library wrap-up, and then I read this a few months ago, so there is that. Now, Normal People comes out on the 16th of April, which is cutting it really close out here in the US, because in the 29th, that is when the shortlist will be announced. So I was like, that is, it's cutting it close. So we'll see how that goes. And I don't know what the shortlist is going to do and what's going to be. So this is basically going to be a 2-month long video. So we'll see. So I'm on page 127. So I'm a little bit over the halfway mark of the whole novel. And I love this. Y'all, this is so good. With this book, when I talk about it, I'm gonna be very aware, and I want to talk more aware than what I normally talk. Like usually when I do these type of reviews, it's just like whatever blew into my head, because this one is, oh my god, it's incredible. So this is about Ada. Now, according to the blurb, so I'm gonna say it, it's quote unquote, she begins to develop separate selves. So it's like just the way that it's written in this magical style, and it's so beautifully written because it introduces these other selves in a way that is just so beautiful and thoughtful and philosophical, and just it's so beautiful. That's what because the beginning of this I was just like, oh, where is this going? And then as I read more along, it starts to, like, it's almost like it's so hard to talk about, like it really is, but it's special. I'm just really enjoying it. The way that it brings these other like gods that it mentions, and it's so insightful. I am really enjoying this. So yeah, I want to bring this up also as I'm talking about this right now, since this will be the beginning of the video. I don't know what the Women's Prize looks for. I asked Zeddy about this from Brown Girl Reading, and she said that it's basically they pick like literature to uplift the voices of women, which I do understand that. And I say this because last year I read The Power, which won, and I did not like it. I gave it 2 stars. I was like, this was the winner? It confused me because I just didn't like it. And so it makes me question a little bit, because like I don't know what the Women's Prize is looking for, because like when the Man Booker, the National Book Award, like those type of or like even like the Coretta Scott King Award, the Newbery, like I have a kind of grasp about what the winners, like as a line, like when you line up the winners, there's a cohesive theme about them and like what the judges are looking for. With the Women's Prize in particular, from my first experience of reading The Power, I was confused because I was like, this one? In my opinion, I was just like, I really didn't like it that much. So that was kind of like a little bit tipsy-turvy for me. But I'm going to look more into it and see what do they look for. Because, I mean, like, this is really good. Like, this is really good. Right, so I just finished reading Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. Y'all, this is gonna go shoot up to the top of the potentials to win this thing, because my goodness, this was fan-freaking-tastic. So this is my fresh hot takes because literally I just finished it. I'm gonna rate it like maybe 4.5 ish, so around there. But I think this is definitely gonna be also personally for me one of my favorite books of the year. It got to be up there, like even like potential wise. It was beautifully it was just a beautiful story, basically about Ada who have different selves. That's what it says on the thing. Everything that I talked about in the previous clip when I reached the halfway point, it still stands. This was so good. It has this magical lyrical vibe to it that I enjoyed so much. Now, first off, the thing is, one thing I didn't particularly like about this is that some of the characters they just literally come and go. Even the other like main important people besides Ada, I could see why Emezi chose to present it to the reader in that regard. But some of them I was like, I kind of wanted more. But um, that's like a really small gripe. But oh my god, it was so beautiful, and it's it's really heartbreaking too at the as you get towards the end. In regards to the ending too, I feel like it was really a little bit too rushed. I see why Emezi chose to do that because it's just like the events are happening like in succession essentially. So I can see that, but man, this is such a great contender to win because it's such a beautifully written novel. The storytelling is so beautiful. It's so magical. And I also love that the way that the writing invokes this like layered storytelling where it doesn't have like a continuous flow in that regard, but it's like stacking the events, and I thought that was like really cool. This is also a book I can see that is could be challenging to like certain readers, especially if you don't like that continuous storytelling and also the way that it's written. So I am forewarning like y'all in case you decide to tackle this. I can see this not being for everybody, but because I also can see that it could present a challenge to the reader, especially if you are more of like I would have to say like maybe a Christian, Western point of view, because it does kind of challenge that in that regard, and I can see why that would be something like a push and pull type of relationship. But I personally enjoy these type of books where it is challenging, especially to the reader, and things are not I enjoy when things are not continuous. The writing, I do enjoy personally. I enjoy those type of writing where it challenges me as a reader. I love that type of story. One thing that I really did enjoy about this was just the way that it approaches religion, and well, not even religion, but your religious views or your faith views. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. This is definitely on the top of winning for me anyways, and definitely a great read, definitely top of my favorite for the year. The one after that that I got from the library is The Number One Chinese Restaurant by Lillian Lee. So once again, I'll do the similar thing what I did with Freshwater, and we'll just keep it going. I'm on a roll right now. I'm feeling it. So yes, I'm excited to read this. Let's go. All right. So with The Number One Chinese Restaurant, I'm currently on page 39. So I thought I would give you guys my full first reaction before I reach the halfway point. So first reaction, it's okay. Like there's nothing for me to be really excited about, but there's nothing really about it. And it's more on the side right now. Like the writing is just okay for me. The characters are just okay. We'll see how this goes because I think I know where the story is going to go at this point. But right now, I've just been picking up my other books instead of this one just because I think I'm so meh about it. But you know that could change for the rest of it. But this is just my first like thoughts. So far right now, in comparison to Freshwater, yeah, Freshwater would definitely be more on top on the list. But yeah, I'll just keep going. Right, so I would do my last check-in before I get to the conclusion of Number One Chinese Restaurant. I am on page 168, so I'm a little bit over the halfway point at this point. Y'all, I don't know what to say about this, but this is not that great. I don't really understand how it got into the long list. Like, not to be mean or anything, because it's really average to the point where it's not good. You've ever like it's so average, like the writing is average, the characters are just like okay, like everything about it is so okay that it just brings it down in my opinion. I don't. And the thing is, I don't want to like be, I don't want to bash it, but it's just everything about it is just so okay, and nothing makes me scream, "Oh my gosh!" Like wow. But nothing is also saying like this is awful or bad in any way. It's just it's really so average. Like there's nothing to say about it. This is a multi-generational type of story about an immigrant family, a Chinese family, and they own a restaurant. And long story short, it's basically we follow majority of the staff members because they're all related essentially, and we see how we got to the point of this where something happens a major incident happens, and basically it goes from there. My favorite aspect of this is actually surprisingly when it talks about their history, because I always enjoy that type of storytelling where we find out a family's history and how we got to a certain point. And that's just because I enjoy that myself when family members tell me like about family histories. I for some odd reason that's one of my favorite things in storytelling. I just always enjoy that. But I think when it's just so like when it's in the present, I think I have an issue with it because it's just like nothing really interesting. Like that's so weird to say because it's just so okay that it's not interesting. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that's coming across from that. Um, None of these characters are likable in that regard. But there's also, and for me, that's not an issue because I enjoy characters that aren't so one dimensional and no one has to be likable. Like, trust me. I really enjoy characters like that. But for some odd reason, I don't know what it is. Something about this is when I'm reading it, it's just like, oh, okay. Like, it's just, I don't know what it is. I think I need more time because even at halfway through, even like even when I was just like, as you saw in the previous clip, as like my first reaction, that's how I still feel about it. Even a little bit halfway over with the story, it is picking up a little bit compared to the last clip, but right now I can't even fathom this winning or being in the short list, and I don't want to like be mean about it, but that's just how I feel. Recently, just finished this, so I thought I would give my final thoughts because I don't really have to think about it. I would give this a 1.5 out of 5. I rated it 2 stars on Goodreads. Suffice it to say, I didn't like this. I don't think this will be on the short list. Long story short, I don't think it'll make it on the short list, and that's not to be mean or anything. I just don't think it's up to the caliber. Um, there are a lot of things in here that I didn't really like this when I got to the epilogue, and I was just like, who cares? Like, I just didn't care at all. And it is one of those things where the book is fine. It's just so fine, like it's just okay, that in the end it doesn't have anything really like outstanding about it. It's literally so average. The writing is okay. The story. This Here's the thing. The story. Oh, okay. So the thing with the story is like when we reached the end of the story at the last part, I was just like, but I think it was in the process of the storytelling because there were some parts where it just seemed to skim over certain aspects of the story, and I was like, I thought that would be more prevalent because it's so important within the overall thing. But in the end, it was just like, what? Like it just seemed to skim over the parts that I thought was going to have more of an importance to the arc, but it just didn't. And then the characters, they're not like the most likable, but you don't. Like I said, you don't have to be likable in that regard. It's just that they're just, I don't know. They're just like that. And then, yeah, I didn't like, yeah, it's just, okay, it's just, like I said, it's literally so average that in the end, it's just not, yeah, I didn't like it. So, yeah, there is that. Next book on the list of the Women's Prize, I don't know what it's going to be, and so usually at this part of the clip, I would tell y'all what book I'm reading next, but I don't know which one that's gonna be, and that's because there are so many books. There's a lot of holds on a lot of the books right now at the library, and then some of them I have no way of getting to that library, so I have to go pick it up at my current library. It's just that it's gonna take a couple of days. So whatever the next book will be, that'll be that one, and I'll do a clip on that. So there's that. And this is just in case, but in case this is the end of this part of the video, I'll see you guys on the next one. So yeah.